Hi, so this is our latest interview. I think it's our third, and today we've got Danny Horrocks of Rapid Property Services, and we're going to dig into a little bit of his past in terms of what sparked him to get into what he does now, jobs that he's done that he's proud of. Uh, learn a little bit about the range of services he offers, and then we're going to dig into his views on networking, whether he loves it, hates it, the bits that he likes, doesn't like, any tips that he's got. And obviously, in case I forget, I'm saying it now, so it's in recent memory, because nearly forgot last time. The crucial question on garden gnomes. No spoilers, Danny. Don't let us know what you think. Yeah. So let's kick it off then and say, so going backwards in time, what was the spark that prompted you to set up and do what you're doing now?
Um, so I done it straight from school. I went to college, done plumbing,
Yeah,
and then got to about 2021,
yeah,
and we were gonna move. I was gonna move away with me, my wife.
yeah,
We moved. We were there a week. She found out she was pregnant, so we moved back.
yeah,
Um, and from then, I ended up getting a job in Jaguar, the car factory.
yeah,
So I got a job in there. I was still doing bits of plumbing, still doing what I was doing. But during college, the fella I worked for, he done basically full house renovations. He was a plumber, but we used to do everything basically. So I kind of learned everything
yeah,
just by default. Um, and then so that's now what I hated it at the time. Hated
yeah,
it. I was just like everyone in college is good at plumbing, getting better. Because I wasn't doing it every day, I
yeah,
wasn't getting better very quickly.
yeah,
So I hated it at the time, but obviously now that's kind of the reason I can do what I do now, which is like we do maintenance basically throughout the property. We do full maintenance. We
yeah,
still do plumbing stuff and that as well, and bathrooms and whatever. But the main kind of core of the business now is maintenance for like landlords, letting agents, and full renovations, which
yeah,
I wouldn't be able to do if I never kind of got the knowledge then.
yeah,
So then the spark to go back self-employed. Do you know what the actual like? I've say I carried on doing it forever, and that was always the idea to go back into it. But the actual reason I thought I'm doing it now is I used to do nights and I used to have to stay up after nights to take the kids to school and coming back. Like I'd say I'd just done a night shift, so it was like then say 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't been to bed since the day before.
yeah,
Nearly fell asleep, basically coming home and just thought, I'm done.
yeah,
So I think a few days later, then I left basically and
yeah.
started doing this again full time.
So
So
I guess the reason you took the job is because you're about to become a dad and you needed like
yeah,
consistent
exactly that.
income.
Yeah. So I was going to like when I was like 19, 20, 21,
Yeah,
going and seeing jobs, and a few times people were like, "Well, you're young, not like
yeah,
going to see a bathroom or whatever," and I was like, "Yeah, no, I know." So
yeah,
people would like write me off. So
yeah,
I could have said to them, I'll fit your whole bathroom for a tenner. And they still
yeah,
wouldn't have got it because, you know what I mean? They were kind of put off by my age at the
yeah,
time, which I mean, I probably get now. At the time, it done me head in. But
yeah,
I get it now. Like if someone came to mind to fit a bathroom and he was 19, 20, I'd be like, don't know about this.
yeah,
But yeah, so that was the kind of the reason I got a full time job was just because I was having a baby, like. But
yeah,
I didn't mind at first, to be honest, and then through time I hated it.
yeah,
But I was still doing, so I was like working there, doing like jobs after work, jobs over weekend, and it became where I was busy outside of my job, and it was becoming too much really. So I thought I need to either choose one. I say that was the spark. Was like driving home and like fell asleep for like a second or two, and I woke up and I was like, wow, this is. It was becoming dangerous, having to do that.
yeah,
And I was like, because I was say if I was going to work, finishing like work in Jag, going straight to do plumbing jobs and maybe working till 8, 9 o'clock at night, whatever. So it was a lot like it was.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. All right. So moving on to it's a two-part question. This I'm going to ask you about your proudest moment in business so far, but it might also be the next question. So I'm going to bundle the two together, which is which job or contract win, if you like, stands out as being the one that when you won it, you were almost like punching the air and going, yes. Is there any that stand out?
Do you know what? I won a contract recently for it was worth like about 300 grand
Yeah,
for housing association, which was it turned out to be honest not that great
yeah,
because it just turned out to be a lot more involved than I initially thought it would be. But that was probably to be able to I think more than actually winning it because a lot of the time you buy a car, say for example, that you've always wanted, and then it's just not that great, is it? After
yeah,
a week or two, you're like, and I think that was the same. It was more the fact that I probably showed myself I can, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
So I'd say probably that, but say it never ended up kind of as good as I hoped.
yeah.
Um, and what was the other part? What was the other
Well,
part of the
it's really
question?
it was about your proudest moment in business so far, and it might be different to that one. But that
I'd
could,
say, I'd say, do you know what? Like I mentioned to you, I think, in the, previously about we've kind of just joined up with another business and
yeah,
just gone through that. So it's always been me, and I've never looked at figures, never looked at. I've just never really. I've just sent everything to my accountant, he sorts it and then whatever. But
yeah,
I've actually kind of took because of joining up. I had to look at my figures and had to kind of go to them and say, "This is what we've done. This is probably as a whole, just kind of looking where we're at, kind of as a company, and where potentially in the next 12 months,
yeah,
figures wise, where we'll get to." And I was like, it shocked me a bit. Like, obviously, I
yeah,
know how much I work and I know, like, the lads, whatever, but the figures kind of was like, and I'm like, we must have done something all right here in the last few years because it's growing
yeah,
it was a lot more than I ever. If someone would have said, like, what was your turnover last year, which I know turnover to a point means nothing. What was your
yeah,
turnover last year? I would have been my guess would have been probably a third of what it actually was, and
yeah,
then what it's projected, say, for the next 12 months.
yeah,
So I'd say just kind of as a whole where we are and where we've got to, and say we've got by like the next couple of weeks, we'll probably have like say 7, 8
yeah,
lads full time for us.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
I've gone through that before. You're so busy doing stuff that you don't see what's actually going on, the bigger
yeah,
picture. And then you take a moment to pause and you think, bloody hell,
you
achieved a lot
actually,
here.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think a few people have said it in the WhatsApp group from time to time, just like know your figures and
yeah,
if you're on your own and it's only you looking at anything or your accountants, you kind of got no one to be accountable to a point. So
yeah,
I've now I think I should have been on top of figures and should have knew where we were at really and what we would have made of stuff. But it's things that you put off, isn't it? Now when you're busy and
yeah,
you think, well, I need to do the job or I need to do certain things, but say like figures and keeping on top of like where your costs are going and stuff like that, you just kind of put off, don't you? Because you're busy doing everything else or quoting or invoicing and stuff like that. So you kind of do stuff you need to do, but not the important stuff. Really, it is important to know, isn't it?
yeah. There is, yeah. All right, well, moving on then. Tell us a bit about the full range of services that you offer
So
and who for?
basically, client wise is landlords and letting agents.
Yeah,
Mainly, we do private work from time to time, but don't really don't really push for it. So we
yeah,
mainly like if I was looking for new clients, say it'd be letting agents or
yeah,
out of town overseas investors. They're our main basically clients. So
yeah,
what we do for them, like maintenance, literally any maintenance, and like renovations, refurbs,
Yeah.
extensions is what we'll do.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so more investors, just
Yeah.
kind of by default, we got into that because you need less clients basically to kind of get more work. Obviously, a
Yeah.
private person might get a kitchen every 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
An investor might get 10 in a year.
Yeah. So it just makes more sense.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of answers the next question, which is if the phone rang now, what would be a dream job? So if you could choose what the next inquiry was, what would it be?
Do you know what it'd be? As a from a business point of view, it'd be probably a letting agent
Yeah.
for that managed a lot of properties, saying we need a new maintenance team.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of the dream as a business, but as a human, for me, be like probably Liverpool football,
Yeah.
like them saying we need maintenance in the ground, say, or one of the
Yeah.
players or Klopp.
Yeah.
That'd be like personally my thing. Do you know what I mean? It would be
Yeah.
Klopp. So someone for Klopp phoning saying, "We've got a job for you." Going in, it was Klopp's house, or
Yeah.
in Anfield Stadium. Say, I'd love to do the maintenance at Anfield.
Yeah.
Trying to get off the tools at the moment to kind of run the business more, but I'd probably be on the tools if it was at Anfield.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't want it to be Everton anyway because they'd be
Uh,
renegotiating the contract next season
yeah, they're
in the
they're skint.
Championship.
Yeah, they're skint, aren't they? So,
Yeah. I'm saying that as a blue. And
oh yeah.
our annual relegation anxiety period. Uh, so right, okay. Well, thanks for that. 'Cause that's a good overview of your business and where you've come from, where you're going, I guess. But let's move on to networking, and I want you to sort of have a little think about any jobs that you've won as a result of networking. And it doesn't have to be the type of networking that we do. It can just be through clients, through friends, through any sort of networking at all. And tell us about a job that really stands out for you that you've won as a result of networking.
Um, so we kind of win everything from networking to a point. We don't advertise, so
Yeah,
all the jobs we get really are through, say, like maybe you telling your mate or stuff like that.
yeah,
But I'd say just because it's recent, I go to networking events in London,
yeah,
and I have done since before COVID. I used to go quite a bit, and
yeah,
just go now quite a bit. Like, and so we get like a few landlords from London who obviously buy in Liverpool, and so we've just got 3 apartments off a landlord in
yeah.
London to do up. So he's doing basically just doing all 3 of the apartments up. Um, we've
Well,
just got that as a recent thing.
that's a clever strategy, though. Going
You
to
know,
the source. Yeah,
like you go to networking events, say in Liverpool, you're going to get landlords from London traveling to Liverpool for networking events here.
yeah,
But obviously, when I used to go, I thought I'm kind of they're kind of the landlord in a room full of scousers.
yeah,
So obviously, if I go to London, I'm the scouser in a room full of Londoners,
yeah.
which it does. It to be honest, it's helped over time. I've had a bit of work from it, like, and I met a few good people from it. But also, like them, they tend to be bigger landlords.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I go to this networking event because they're very knowledgeable. Most of them, well, not most of them, but a lot of them are like they might own 500, 600 properties
Yeah,
personally. So obviously you can learn a lot from them,
yeah, excellent.
and I say I have got work from it as well, so it helps on that side. But
I mean, would you class yourself as a networking extrovert or introvert?
um, I would say somewhere in the middle. I'm not shy. I'm not shy. I'm not a shy person.
Yeah,
But again, I'm not someone who's gonna like walk into a room and be dead loud, and I'm not like that either. So I mean, I'll speak. Say like in your networking where placed onto a table with people,
Yeah.
I'd probably be probably the most talkative, maybe,
Yeah.
or up there. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be like sitting at the back like shy, waiting for kind of my turn. But I wouldn't say I'm like, and I'm definitely not an introvert, but I'm probably not an extrovert either. I'm not going to kind of
Yeah.
go into a networking event and like butt into a circle of people to try and get involved.
Yeah.
But if someone's there and I speak to, I'll speak. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. No, I get that completely. I mean, it's one of the reasons we did the structure we do, because in a smaller group format, people tend to relax into it, particularly the way
Yeah,
you do it and start with a one-to-one, which eases people in. Then you've got a speaker on a topic, and that sort of sparks the conversation. So some of them have already started, of course,
yeah.
and people are already talking about what they're doing, and then the structured bit. But yeah,
I think if you in yours, if you would just if you're on your own, for example, and you come and you've never like obviously people will know you to a point and maybe Pam, but
yeah,
if they don't know anybody else, but you put them in a one to one with someone maybe who's in the same position, they don't really know anyone else. At least then they've got each other then in that environment to kind of speak to. But then I've been to events before where it's just basically a room and you're just left there for an hour and a half. No one even. I've been to one where no one even like introduced it. It was just you basically turn up to the room.
yeah. Nice.
An hour and a half later, you kind of go, and just like
Yeah,
that was. But it's quite. It's quite scary as well, isn't it, in that situation? Because if
yeah,
you're gonna have to go at some point for your first time, other
yeah,
people may have been 10 times and they kind of know each other and whatever, so it's fine for them.
yeah,
But if no one in that room comes over and makes an effort to talk to you, you've got to butt into people's conversations or like kind of try and get involved. Which is, I say I'm not shy, but I wouldn't be comfortable doing that really.
yeah. Well, I think a lot of it's. I mean, Pam's the extrovert, and it's kind of. I think she's slowly listened to me over time, and I, I suppose acknowledge that you have to design it for introverts, because
Yeah,
apparently about 40% of people are introverts. I've seen
yeah.
some figures suggesting it's 60%.
But I think a lot of people who go are going to be self-employed
Yeah,
business people, and you spend a lot of time on your own, don't you? So
yeah,
that either probably makes you go one way or the other, as in you're either not really used to talking to people, so you are quite shy, or you might that might be your little time to let loose and go and speak to
yeah,
loads of people because you're in a room with people and you spend all your time on your own. Like Pam's like probably the extreme of the
yeah,
other way, isn't she? Like she's
yeah.
just very confident, very. Do you know what I mean? She's not many people are like Pam. Definitely, more people are probably similar to like yourself or me, where
Yeah.
you'll speak to people and you can hold a conversation and like deal with it, but you won't maybe force the conversation to other people.
Yeah, I think with me, because I'd class myself as a networking introvert, and that's how I started out.
Mm,
And in a way, the first experience I had was terrifying. I didn't even know I
yeah,
was going to a networking event. I was kind of conned into it. It was like somebody said, "Oh, yeah, come and meet me for breakfast," and it turned into, it was actually a BNI meeting, and I didn't know it was. And by the time I realised what was going on, it was embarrassing for me to leave.
yeah, yeah.
So I had to stay.
Are you
But
happy? Are you happy they done it though, or would you rather have not done it?
well, I actually I wasn't happy until I got a referral that
Yeah.
meeting, and I got a support contract and a network installation project. I used to do IT installs,
Oh yeah.
and I thought, I've got to get over this. I've got to do this, because I would never have won that business if
Yeah.
I
So it
hadn't
ended up
gone.
being a good thing anyway.
Yeah, so I think over the years, I'd say I'm still not entirely comfortable with it, but I'm not as bad as I used to be.
Yeah.
And I still, like, I did a talk, was it last week? I was still nervous, but I wasn't as bad as I used to be.
Yeah.
So
I think the more you go, well, to the same one anyway, The
Yeah.
more you go, obviously, the easier it gets because you
Yeah.
eventually kind of you'll have friends there. Then like you might
Yeah.
go there to start with as you're on your own kind of thing, but
Yeah.
eventually you probably get to know people, and you're normally drawn to people as you speak, and
Yeah.
you'll end up with like friends there, won't you? You know what I mean? And that might be
Yeah.
you once a month where you go and see them and have a pint or have a coffee or whatever you're doing, and so eventually you look forward to it, don't you? And
Well, that's it, really. I mean, the more you go, the better you become at it, and the easier it gets because people that you've met before at previous events, you feel comfortable sticking around because that's
yeah,
why we do the open networking at the end, so that everyone who is a little bit more reserved gets some proper networking in before
yeah,
the bit where you kind of got to go and mix with people. So at that
yeah.
point, people can go, but when we've done it before, over time, people who used to be like that start to stay. They've had a
I
couple of
think
pints and they see people
yeah,
that they've met before, and they don't feel so uncomfortable, I
I
guess.
think it's a lot of the time, like the end where it's open networking, especially say in the London one where I go to,
Yeah,
that's normally the time you get to actually speak to people, and it's not formal, so you'll find out how who people are kind of thing, rather than someone standing up going, "Well, I'm Danny, this is what I do."
yeah,
It's like, "Well, have you got kids? Are you married?" And you kind of personally get to know people, which is eventually how you end up working with people in it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
People telling you what they do is all well and good, but if you're not gonna just go, "Oh, well, I'll give you this, I'll give you that, I'll give you that," until you know the person, are you? So
yeah. I mean, what advice would you give to someone who's never done networking before, and it's maybe their first time? Would you advise them to go for it,
I
or
definitely say go for it, yeah, because
yeah,
as I say, we don't advertise at all.
yeah,
So kind of, well, I say we don't advertise in the formal way you'd see advertisements
yeah,
on the internet or whatever. Networking is advertising yourself basically, innit?
yeah,
And
yeah,
probably the strongest way to do it. I mean, obviously, well, it's what 20 quid say to get to your networking, which is how much would you pay for like Facebook ads or something like that? A lot more than that.
yeah.
And it's the strongest probably advert you can do in it if people are actually personally meeting you. So
Right.
I
Well,
say like say with your one or one, maybe see if someone will go with you. If
yeah.
it's a big worry, do you know what I mean? See if someone will go with you,
Yeah.
or
I
just
mean,
do it.
I completely agree with you, and that's why we've done one-to-ones on arrival. So even if
Yeah,
you're coming alone, you'll be alone for a second, but you won't
yeah,
have to tackle a crowd. It's just one-to-one.
yeah.
Uh,
But I'd
but
say
yeah,
it's definitely if you're trying to grow a business, I think you've kind of got to. You've
yeah,
kind of got to network unless you're going to spend a lot of money on advertising or you've already got some sort of big contract. But if you want to grow a business, I think you've just got to network.
yeah. I mean, and I know some people like in person and they don't like Zoom, but we're seeing the Zoom calls working really well because it sort of bridges the gap in between events.
I
So
think,
people
yeah,
that you've met, you get to meet again.
I've never done it. I've done probably in my life networking Zooms. Like I've probably done maybe one.
Yeah,
So it's probably something I need. Like I'm saying, do the in person. That you need to do it, but I've never done a Zoom one. So I need to probably make an effort to do the Zoom meeting myself. Even like I'm at home and the kids are here and whatever, but obviously I can just kind of escape upstairs for an hour, even if I get on for an hour and
well, the thing is, it's like in the Zooms that we do, we've got cats interrupting it, dogs, kids, and that's absolutely fine. People
yeah,
accept that now, and I think the way we do it as well, it's like it is the short intro. Everyone does a short intro,
yeah,
and just that touch point, if you like, you get to know a little bit about people through that,
yeah,
and then we end it on a random one-to-one chat with for 10 minutes, so 5 minutes each, so you can get a little bit more in depth with somebody.
yeah,
And it really works well because in between events, you can sort of catch up with people that you've met before,
yeah,
meet people that maybe haven't been to the in-person event or you've never met them there. and it plugs those gaps. And I think in time we'll see the levels of business from this network be much higher than just monthly events,
Yeah.
weekly
So
events.
I'm gonna make an effort to
We'll give
do
it a
do
go.
your Zoom ones.
Yeah, yeah. It's honestly, it doesn't hurt. We keep it light.
Yeah.
It's not formal. The dog, the cat, the guinea pig, or the parrot, in Pam's case, can interrupt.
Yeah.
And
No one can interrupt Pam.
the parrot can. It drives her crazy. But yeah. Well, I'll get off that subject now, and I've got to get on to the hottest topic in construction and property at the moment, and ask you the final question. And it's this: Are you for or against garden gnomes, and why?
Uh, I'm gonna say I'm for them.
Yeah.
I haven't got any but why? Why? Think of the reason why. Protecting your garden for you, aren't they? Come
Yeah,
alive in the
yeah,
night. You've seen
yeah,
Romeo and Juliet, the kids'
yeah,
cartoon. So
yeah.
they protect your garden. Why would you not want them?
Of course, yeah. Well, it's security. You don't have to pay
Yeah.
for it either.
Don't need cameras or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah. So if anyone of Danny's family or friends are watching, you know what to get them for Christmas.
Yeah, just loads of garden gnomes.
Yeah,
They'll start fitting cameras in them and installing them for people.
yeah. Well, I've really appreciated your time, Danny. I'm going to, as I've said before, I've got no fancy graphics or music or anything to end it on. So it's just the
You're
kind.
gonna have to design some as you get famous.
I know, yeah, but I don't know where the button is to switch it on.
You'll have to get a jingle.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. I'll get someone to edit it in afterwards one day.
Yeah, Mick will be able to do it only.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, to
I'll,
do
I'll check my budget.
it.
Right. Okay. So thanks very much for your time.
Sound.
Unless you've got any final words, I'll end it there. Have you?
No, no, I'm
No?
good.
Nothing profound to leave people on. That's perfect.
No. I'll
All right. Well,
sound. Thanks, Ian.
thanks very much, Danny.
All right, mate.
Cheers.
See
See
you
ya.
later.